Could you imagine following Jesus, being part of his inner circle, watching miracles happen close enough to touch, and still wanting more? Still wanting status, still wanting to be recognized, still asking, where do I rank? James did. Not behind Jesus' back. He asked out loud. He walked up to Jesus with his brother and said, "We want the seats at your right hand and your left, the highest places. When you come into your glory, we want to be there." What do you do with a disciple like that? Jesus did not dismiss him. He did not shame him. He answered him. And what he said changed everything about what James would become. James was the son of Zebedee, a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee. His mother was Salome, likely the sister of Mary, the mother of Jesus, which would make James a cousin of Jesus. If that is accurate, it adds a layer to the request for the highest seats. James may have believed that family connection gave him a legitimate claim. He and his brother John worked with their father and hired hands, a business large enough to have employees, which suggests a family of some standing. They were not destitute fishermen. They had something to leave when they left. And when Jesus called them, they left immediately. They left the boat. They left their father. The Gospel of Mark says they left Zebedee in the boat with the hired men and went after Jesus. No delay, no negotiation. James was the kind of man who moved fast toward things he believed in. That intensity, that all-in quality, would define him for the rest of his life, for better and for worse. Jesus gave James and his brother a nickname, Boanerges. It means sons of thunder. That is not a gentle name. It says something about how these two men showed up in the world. And the Gospels give us examples. When a Samaritan village refused to welcome Jesus, James and John came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to destroy them?" Fire from heaven. Not patience, not persuasion, fire. Jesus rebuked them. On another occasion, the disciples saw someone casting out demons in Jesus' name, someone who was not part of their group, and John reported it to Jesus as a problem. James and John wanted boundaries around the work. They wanted clarity about who was in and who was out. What you see in James, over and over, is a man with enormous energy and genuine devotion that had not yet been shaped by something larger than himself. He cared deeply. He was fully committed. He just hadn't learned yet what to do with all that fire. The request for the highest seats happens near the end of Jesus' ministry. He has been predicting his death. The disciples have heard it. And in the middle of this, as the shadow of what is coming grows darker, James and John come to Jesus with their ask. In Matthew's account, their mother comes with them. She kneels. She makes the request on their behalf. "Grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom." Jesus turns to James and John directly. He does not speak to the mother. He speaks to them. "You don't know what you're asking. Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" They answered without hesitation, "We can." They did not know what the cup meant. They did not know it meant Gethsemane. They did not know it meant a cross. Jesus said, "You will indeed drink from my cup." Not a rebuke, a prophecy. Something was coming for James that would answer his question in a way he never anticipated. Despite that moment, or perhaps because of it, James remained in the innermost circle. There were 12 disciples, but there were 3 who were taken further in: Peter, James, and John. When Jesus went to the mountain of Transfiguration, he took those 3. When he healed Jairus' daughter, only those three in the room. When he went deeper into the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, he brought those three. "Stay here and keep watch with me," he said. They fell asleep, all three of them, on the worst night of his life. And Jesus came back to them and asked, gently, "Could you not keep watch with me for 1 hour?" James was there for the most sacred and the most painful moments. He saw the glory, and he slept through the agony. Both are true. The inner circle is not a reward for perfection. It is an invitation into depth. James was there, fully, imperfectly there. When the other 10 disciples heard about the seat request, they were indignant. Not because they thought it was wrong, but because they had wanted the same thing and hadn't been bold enough to ask. Jesus gathered them all together, and he gave them the framework that would define the movement he was building. You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. He did not tell James that ambition was wrong. He told James that greatness was real, but it was available somewhere James hadn't looked yet. Not above others, among them. Not at the right hand of the throne, at the foot of it. Jesus told James he would drink the cup, and he did. In the year 44 AD, roughly a decade after the crucifixion, King Herod Agrippa ordered the arrest of James, and then his execution. The book of Acts records it in a single verse. He had James, the brother of John, put to death with the sword. No lengthy account, no dramatic description, just James was killed. He was the first of the 12 apostles to be martyred. The man who wanted the highest seat became the first to give everything. Church tradition adds a detail that the book of Acts omits, that the man who accused James and brought him before Herod was so moved by James's composure and faith during the proceedings that he converted on the spot and asked to be executed alongside him. James's death, tradition says, brought someone to Jesus in the same way his life had. Even at the end, he was still a witness. James wanted greatness. He said so to Jesus' face, and Jesus did not shame him for it. He redirected him. He showed him that the desire for greatness is not the enemy. It is the starting place. The question is not whether you want to matter. Most of us do. The question is, what are you willing to serve? What are you willing to kneel for? What cup are you willing to drink? James thought he was asking about position. Jesus was answering a question about formation. The disciple who wanted the highest seat became the man who gave the highest price. And in giving it, he changed people, even people who came to watch him die. That is what greatness looks like when it has been through something. Subscribe to Word in Motion and come back for the next episode. Philip is next, the practical disciple with the practical questions, and a faith that had to work things out slowly.